Welcome to the Crypto Lab. In today's video, we will talk about Bitcoin. By the end of the video, you will have a complete understanding of the market situation, and what I'm about to show you might shock you. We are going to review 3 charts. The Bitcoin capitulation chart, as you can see, then the big picture chart, and a brand new chart I want to show you. It's the heat map chart. Of course, if you are new to the channel, welcome and consider subscribing. Now, let's jump in. We will start with the capitulation chart because I have great news to share. First, let me remind you how this chart helps to track the buying opportunities. We have 4 lines, each one with a specific color. We have the yellow line, the pink line, the blue line, and the orange line. The understanding of how it works is pretty straightforward. When all these lines join together, the price is attracted to the very same area of confluence. Thanks to this discovery, we are able to anticipate the greatest moves of Bitcoin. In 2014, we had a beautiful cross between all the lines, and this is exactly when the price decided to cross all these lines. And you already know what was next. We went into a capitulation until touching the bottom line. We even touched the bottom line twice, and these were perfect opportunities to buy Bitcoin. 4 years later, we had a similar scenario. All the capitulation lines joined at the same time, and after crossing all of them, we had a capitulation. We went straight to the bottom line. You are witnessing the power of confluence points here. And that's how we knew a great move was coming for Bitcoin in the current situation. Indeed, in February, we said that this specific candle was beautiful. Why? Because we said that this was a perfect confluence between the 4 lines. And again, the price went from the very top to the confluence point. It has been attracted to this area like a magnet. That said, let's take a closer look at the shape of the candle. What can you say? First, the very same week of the confluence, we tested all the lines of the confluence lines at the same time with one unique candle. Do you think it's a coincidence? I don't think so. This prevented us from making a lower low compared to this low. Also, we have a beautiful week with the candle closing above all the capitulation lines. To be clear, this is very bullish. Of course, we were ready to see the price crossing the lines to the downside just in case. We were prepared for a capitulation. And despite the fact that we did cross the yellow line, all the other lines were below us. So I'm glad to say that it looks like the capitulation has been avoided. Of course, as I always say, we cannot predict the future with 100% accuracy, but I really like what I see in the chart right now with the price using the confluence point as a support and the price making a higher high compared to this high. The price is even above the yellow line, which has the strongest slope, as you can see. Now we need to wait to see if we will keep on using this line as a support or if we will cross it to the downside again. But so far, so good. It's time to switch to the big picture chart. I want to focus on the cloud line today, which is the white line. This line can be considered as the mean of Bitcoin. So far, Bitcoin has been following this line from the very start, as you can see. Okay? We can go above it, we can go below it, but at the end of the day, we always come back to it. Sometimes we are using it as a resistance, okay? Resistance, resistance, resistance. Here also, resistance, resistance. And sometimes we are using it as a support. As you can see here, it was a great support. Recently, it was a support, okay? So this line is very, very important for Bitcoin. There are multiple things to say right now, and I'm glad to say that we are back above the cloud line. As I'm currently speaking, you can see that we are above the cloud line. And whenever we have indecision in the market, it's always better to be above the cloud line because it means that the market may still have a chance to be bullish. We know that on the weekly time frame, the cloud can have false signal with the price closing below the clouds, as you can see, and going back above the clouds. For example, in the past, it was the opposite because the price went up with candle closing above the clouds and we went back below the clouds. And in the past, we didn't have any false signal. Every time we crossed the clouds, it was to go into capitulation. Here it was the same, as you can see. Okay. Here we crossed it, we went down to the bottom. Here we crossed it, we went down into the bottom. And here we crossed it, we went down to the bottom, right? However, I have a solution to remove the noise. To do this, we can go on the monthly time frame. And as you can see, on this time frame, there is no false signal. If we go back in the past, we still have the same resistances and supports. You see it here, resistance, support. And what is very interesting is that even here, we have the price piercing the clouds, but we got rejected from it with a close below the cloud. So in this case, we have no false signal. And what I really like to see right now, look how beautiful this is. We had a top, we had a major top for Bitcoin. We went down to retest the cloud line. We had a second top, okay, after a very big move from Bitcoin. And we went down to retest the clouds. And as you can see, we are still above the clouds and we are starting seeing a bounce from it, okay? So look, we went down and now we have a bounce. So we didn't have any candle closing below the clouds. It looks clear to me that the cloud line is still used as a support. So unless we go back down and we have a weekly close below the cloud line, I consider this rebound to be bullish, guys. And last but not least, it's time to talk about the heat map chart. This thing is a beauty. It's a brand new chart and it's a summary of all the previous charts I showed you in this video. There is a lot to say about this chart, but today we are going to focus on the capitulation part. I want to bring this line to your attention. Do you see the green line just right here? Okay, we have the green line. Now you need to listen. When it's time to retest the capitulation, the line separates in two. As you can see from here, we have a separation of the line with one part of the line going up like this to retest the capitulation and another line going like this for the bottom, right? And once we cross the line, we go straight to the bottom line, okay? If we have a look in the future, what happened in 2018, it was exactly the same scenario. The line was going up, then we started having a separation of the line with one part going up and the bottom line. We retested the capitulation just right here, we crossed it. Where did we go? To the bottom line. Let's have a look at the current situation. As you can see, just right here, again, we have the line, we have a separation of the line with one part going up, another part for the bottom. But for the very first time in Bitcoin history, we didn't cross the capitulation line, okay? So instead of going down like this, we have a nice bounce to the upside. Isn't it amazing? This is why I say that this line is testing the capitulation, because you see that here we crossed it, we went down. Here we crossed it, we went down. But for the very first time in Bitcoin history, it's not the case, guys. We had a nice bounce and we are even using this line as a support right now. And you noticed that here it was a great support after the top that we had just right here. Here again it was a support, then a resistance, and right now we are starting using it as a support. This is wonderful. Something I forgot to say about the big picture chart is look the red line, which is part of the pi cycle top indicator. And right now what I like to see is that it seems to me that Bitcoin is trying to prevent this line from crossing the cloud line. This is why we have the price going up like this above the red line, and at the same time the red line is starting going up like this to avoid the cross with the cloud line. And we see that in the past, okay, if we come back just right here, you see that we have the red line crossing the clouds and we had a capitulation. We have the red line crossing the cloud line and we have a capitulation. And right now, it seems that the red line doesn't want to cross the cloud line and we have a nice curvature just right here. And at the same time, the price is going above the red line, which is a great sign because now the red line should be a support. Now let's pay attention to the colors of the line. So just let me remove the drawings. And as you can see here, we have the separation, right? After this, we have the cross and you see that the lines is starting changing its color. Here it's red. Here it's purple and we know that we went into a capitulation. So when the line starts changing from yellow to purple, we know that a capitulation is coming, okay? Here it was the same thing. We have the line changing its color. From here it was purple, so we knew that we would have a capitulation no matter what. And right now, what is really interesting is that we have the separation of the lines, but here we went from green to yellow to orange, but we don't have any purple color yet. Even here, we don't have any red or purple color, so we may still have a chance to have no capitulation. So what I see from this chart right now is very, very positive. Now, the price have a bounce. We are above this line, which is a very bullish sign. We are even using it as a support. And the next area of resistance is just right here, as you can see. This is a very important level because just right here, it was a support. It was a support. And here it was a resistance. And we kept it as a resistance for multiple weeks before going down. So we know that this area is very important for Bitcoin. So if we stay above this support line that you see with the colors, we have to retest this line first before going up, if we ever go up. So from this video, if you need to understand one thing is that we had a correction, then we have a lot of indecision in the market. And right now it seems that Bitcoin is making a decision, but we need some confirmation first. But so far, what I'm seeing is very positive, very bullish. So we need to pay attention to this. If we see Bitcoin going back below this support line and inside this area, we should be prepared for a retest of the capitulation line. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you liked this video. That's all for today. And as always, time will tell.